Hello everyone, thanks for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. In a lone top story this evening, we talk about over 80 students abducted by unidentified gunmen in the northwest regional capital, Bamenda, as the Anglophone crisis continues deepening further. Till now, the whereabouts of the students of Presbyterian Secondary School in the Bamenda 3 subdivision remains unknown. At least 80 students of Presbyterian Secondary School in the Bamenda 3 subdivision and a teacher of that institution have been abducted by unidentified gunmen. They were kidnapped in the early hours of the morning today. Now we have some details with our correspondent in the Northwest Regional Capital, Frederick Taka.
This morning at the Presbyterian Secondary School in Quen, and it comprises 78 students, one teacher, the principal, and the driver. So according to local and security sources, a group of unknown armed men stormed the college early this morning and take them away. Up to now, the destination of those 81 abducted is still unknown. So PSS in Quen is one of the dormitory schools here in Bamenda. So students and the staff kidnapped this morning were staying in school. And according to authorities, it's yet to get the circumstances of this abduction. Up to now, the government, the governor of the Northwest region is holding a security meeting and promised to give clear detail about what happened after the security meeting. Also, this incident happened 3 days after the kidnapping of the Geo of Nuning, and its whereabouts is yet to know.
And the governor of the Northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, Adolphe Lele Lafrigue, has effectively given some details on what happened in the early hours of the morning today at Presbyterian Secondary School in the Bamenda 3 subdivision, where over 80 students, a teacher and the driver of that school have been abducted. Until now, their whereabouts remains unknown. The governor visited the school and held a crisis meeting with some officials of that institution, as you heard from our correspondent in the Northwest region of the country, Frederick Taka. Now, here's an extract of what the governor told the press shortly after that crisis meeting. Take a listen.
To hearten the people, students, teachers, and staff, but foremost the parents, that despite what happened here, the state government will not surrender. We are going to make sure the students, the people that were abducted, are brought back to the classrooms. Measures are being taken by the security men in that regard. That said, I would like to send a strong message to the terrorists that yes, they have provoked. There are raping, killing, looting, abducting, but they are going to face a strong, powerful reaction by the powers that be, not only here in Bamenda, but elsewhere in the North region. We can't accept it to happen. School is a right for everybody, for every children, and to appeal to the entire world to see the true face of those terrorists here in the region.
Northwest Governor Adolphe Lafrique speaking there to the press shortly after a crisis meeting coming on the heels of the abduction of over 80 students, a teacher and a driver at Presbyterian Secondary School, QUI, in the Bamenda 3 subdivision. Until now, it should be emphasized the whereabouts of those who were abducted in the early hours of the morning today remains unknown, and investigations are on course to track down the abductors, the kidnappers, and of course those who are being held in captivity as we speak. And the situation has continued deepening in the two Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon, while government tarries to provide solutions to the socio-political and security crisis rogging those two regions for more than 2 years today. And now the government continues sending aid to some persons, thousands of them who have been displaced by this crisis. Many of them are in the bushes, some are in other parts of the country, notably some parts of the west and the littoral regions of the country, which are close to the crisis-stricken two Anglophone regions, the northwest and the southwest regions, while thousands equally are now refugees in neighboring Nigeria. Government has continued sending aid to some of these persons, as Smanjik and Gebre report.
They came in from Tuba subdivision and Bafut subdivision of Mezam division in the northwest region of Cameroon. They are all victims of the Anglophone crisis and are seeking refuge in Bamenda town. The SDF Honorable for the Bafut Tuba constituency, Honorable Fusi Namukong Wilfred, came to wipe away the sufferings of these internally displaced persons with foodstuffs, 500 bags of rice and 500 bags of cubes. The recipients are elated with the gesture.
This crisis has made me from finding myself in Bamenda because I'm internally displaced. I even tricked from Bafut down here because of this crisis. But thank God for the servant that has given us to help us. I'm very grateful for what he has given us.
Meanwhile, they are all calling on government to settle the war.
I just think that the government should seek a solution for this problem because I cannot even go to school. We are just in the house every time. There's no way to even go out. I'm tired.
On his part, the SDF MP is saddened as schools in his constituency have remained closed and people keep dying.
Bafut is having about 18 secondary schools and none is going. They have about 76 primary schools and all are empty. Most of the inhabitants have abandoned their areas, especially those who are situated along the road. The rate of killing is heavy. People are running away from bullets. As you have seen from the population, you can find children, you can find very old people. I want to let you know that it is very serious. And we are in a very desperate mood. Same in Tuba.
He says the SDF has warned the government about the deteriorating nature of the crisis and calls for the person who called for the war to call for an end.
We have been coming out and explaining to the government, to the powers that be, that we are passing through a serious situation. And I think the powers that be have not given appropriate attention to what we are having. I think the way forward, we are now in a state of war. The person who called for war should call off the war and bring back peace. Bring back people to a common dialogue table. Let's talk constructively.
The Anglophone crisis has caused enormous damages, with villages razed by flames, people killed, and the call from everyone is for it to be resolved in a peaceful way.
Honorable Namukong Fusi of the Social Democratic Front SDF political party bringing aid to some persons displaced by the Anglophone crisis, added to the aid that government has been sending to some of the displaced persons in some parts of the country in order to help them to continue with life in a better way, considering that they have been suffering a lot as a result of the deepening Anglophone crisis, and members of parliament of the Social Democratic Front have continued mounting pressure to see that the Anglophone crisis is put on the table during this ongoing November session of Parliament. And speaking to reporters in the nation's political capital, the Honorable Nkeze Emilia of the Social Democratic Front indicated that this issue, notably the Anglophone crisis, is not in the agenda of the ongoing parliamentary session, but they will continue to mount pressure to see that the issue is discussed in Parliament in a bid to find solutions to the crisis. Listen to Honorable Senator Nkeze Emilia.
But the way forward to the Senate will be very isolatory. It's the way forward to Cameroonians. We are the people who dot the I's and we cut the T's that for issues that have been deliberated upon in the lower house. And there is always a program which is tabled to us as we go into our house to do deliberations. You know very well as I do that November is a month that we are coming to vote the budget of the country. And you know as well as I do that the system that is in place has either pre-prepared agendas that is read to us. Being a minority in the House, we cannot overrule the agenda, because if we do that and it goes to voting, the majority will definitely pass that agenda. And so therefore we only pray God Almighty that if we have a point of order in the House, we'll be able to continue to insist, mount pressure from the periphery to the powers that be, so that if that is not raised in our House, it will be brought into the picture. As of now, I don't want to put a nail on the point that it must be discussed, but I crave the indulgence of the House that if it is an issue to be discussed, I assure you we will definitely speak and protect the interests of Cameroonians.
Honorable Senator Nkeze Emilia of the Social Democratic Front was speaking to reporters in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, shortly after the first National Executive Committee meeting of the Social Democratic Front after the proclamation of results of the October 7, 2018 presidential election, an election in which the Social Democratic Front recorded its poorest performance. It came fourth after President Paul Biya, Maurice Kamto of the CRM political party, Cabral Libi of the Universe political party, and the Social Democratic Front, as far as the presidential election of the October 7 is concerned, has been relegated to the fourth position. And these are some of the issues that were discussed during the last National Executive Committee meeting of the Social Democratic Front, which took place in Yaoundé. Take a listen to the National Chairman of the Social Democratic Front, John Fundi.
And issues we are discussing, we are reviewing our activities during the presidential elections to see where we made our mistakes, to see where we made our gains, and then to prepare ourselves for other elections. Yeah, we have not come here to sanction militants. If we have to sanction militants, we'll be in a different meeting, but not in this one. We're just coming from a battle, and the position of the SDF hurts everybody. Yeah. So if some militants in the midst of this made statements that were uncalled for, I think that we didn't come here to discipline militants. What happened is that you'll understand that the Northwest and the Southwest were blocked, and that's our own fief. And other younger people that came into the game, we saw tribal politics now coming in, which is very dangerous for Cameroonians. Yes. And we are preparing ourselves to say that we should sell our program and not to look at people from tribal angles. Yes. That is the presidential candidate that we handed everything to him. I will not sit here to blame him. He's the one who was in the race and he saw what he saw. And but even said, whether he congratulates Mr. Biya or not, he is there. Mr. Biya will be there. But I congratulate them that they tried, as I congratulate the lawyers who fought a good fight in the Constitutional Council. I even congratulated the SDF candidate. When he took the floor, he talked maturely. And you know that that's somebody who could have been the president. So all this, I congratulate the people. But we have to sit down and analyze where we made our mistakes. And that's precisely what we are doing now. And when we come out with our resolutions, it will come to the press for you to know what we finally discussed.
John Frun, the chairman of the Social Democratic Front, speaking there, and political leaders, notably those of the opposition, have been reacting to the recent proposal of Professor Maurice Kamto of the CRM political party, who called for the recounting of the vote of the October 7 presidential election, and people like Cabral Libi of the Universe political party, who came third, as well as Serge Espoir Matomba, who was second to the last. Thing is a good idea or a good proposal by Professor Maurice Kamto, but according to Serge Espoir Matomba, the opposition lost everything during the October 7 presidential election, and even if the votes are recounted, it won't change anything. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
Video published on Friday, November 2nd, 2018, Maurice Kamto called for the constitution of an independent international commission to recount the October 7 presidential election votes. Immediately after the Facebook outing of Professor Maurice Kamto, Cabral Libi of the Universe Party reacted. Using the same medium, Cabral Libi said Kamto's suggestion is worthy of interest. Cabral Libi further stated that a mutualized approach will allow opposition candidates to collect the result data sheet they have in their possession, indicating that they have 13,662 in their possession. This, according to the Universe Party candidate, will help to know how many result data sheets are exclusively available to the election governing body ELECAM or the administration in Cameroon. He further concluded that a cross-recount will be more transparent and more credible. Just like Cabral Libi of the Universe Party, Serge Espoir Matomba of Pu's Party sees Professor Maurice Kamto's proposal as a welcome initiative, though Serge Espoir Matomba believes that the opposition in general lost the October 7 presidential election.
I mean, the all opposition have failed. I have some data with me, as I have said. I'm not the one who have to give the result of the election, but the data I have with me is just showing me that we have failed. All of us have failed, and we have to change our way to do things.
The Social Democratic Front, SDF party, is rather preoccupied by the municipal and legislative elections of next year, 2019. The Social Democratic Front believes that matters concerning the presidential election of October 7 are not of prime importance now, especially considering its dismal performance during the October 7 polls. The ruling CBDM party, on its part, considers such debates as non-event, stating that the decision of the Constitutional Council is final.
Journalists in Cameroon have been condemning the illegal arrest, threatening, and of course the humiliation and intimidation of journalists for simply doing their job, and they condemn recent arrest, jailing, intimidation, torture, and humiliation of journalists. And a case in point is veteran journalist of Equinoxe Radio and Television, Mimi Mefo, who has been summoned at the Littoral Gendarmerie Brigade, or the Littoral Gendarmerie Légion, for doing her job. For me, Armstrong Sander.
Many have described journalism as a noble profession, with the practitioners engaged in telling nothing else but the truth. While journalists are praised and honored for speaking the truth, some top government officials view them as threats in the society. The inhumane treatment slammed them has led to many shouting that journalism should not be considered a crime.
Il faut dire que c'est scandaleux.
These as journalists are either arrested, jailed, or humiliated for reporting a bitter truth. A recent case is the summoning of Equinoxe TV and radio journalist Mimi Mefo at the Douala Gendarmerie Brigade for questioning about her numerous reports on the Anglophone crisis on the internet. Another is the arrest of Le Messager newspaper journalist Joseph Olinga, recently in Bafoussam, by defense and security forces while he was exercising his journalism duty.
Alors qu'il prenait un cours en compagnie d'autres confrères dans un cabaret.
Journalists have strongly criticized the maltreatment of their colleagues in Cameroon by administrative authorities, defense and security officials as criminals as way to seal their mouths about banal happenings.
Il ne suffit pas de condamner.
Practitioners of the journalism profession believe such recurrent maltreatment stems from the fact that journalists are not well organized to resist repression from government officials and to continue working without fear.
Les gars qui sont sur le terrain ne sont plus sereins, ils travaillent avec la peur dans le ventre.
Other journalists condemn government violation of human rights and journalists' freedom of reporting on any subject.
On a le sentiment qu'effectivement le Cameroun sort de l'état de droit.
It should be noted, many journalists like Mancho BBC, Akumbam Elvis Makati, Ben Terence, Awa Thomas, and many others are currently behind bars for their reports about the Anglophone crisis that is close to 3 years old today. Pressure is still being mounted on governments to release the educators and information givers.
The governor of the Littoral region, Samuel Jedone Ivaha Dibois, was at the Biopharma factory here in the economic capital, Douala. A section of that factory was consumed by wild flames over the weekend, and the governor went to give words of comfort and encouragement to the management of that company. Details in this report.
The leading cosmetic products company in Cameroon, Biopharma, incurred a huge loss in millions of francs CFA consumed by flames that engulfed a section of the factory in Douala over the weekend. Less than 48 hours later, Littoral Governor Samuel Jedone Ivaha Dibois visits the company with government's message of comfort and encouragement.
We came here as a representative of administrations to give strength to Biopharma, who had this fire incident in the night of Friday to...
He said thanks to the effort of rescue soldiers, the flames did not spread to the production department of the factory.
When we have an incident like this, we used to call our brigades company to come and fight against this fire. They have done it, they have done well, and we can say that this company is not burnt at whole site. It's a part of this site that have been burnt. The production part is not burnt, and we can just say thank God to what's happened and stopping the fire at this level.
Governor Ivaha Dibois urged the management of Biopharma to maintain its production level.
We are also encouraging the general manager to give strength to this work, let him go ahead, because as far as the pharmaceutical industry is concerned in Cameroon, he is the one who is in front, and we have to give him strength and to tell him to go ahead.
Étant donné que l'outil de production n'a pas été touché, nous allons rapidement prendre les choses en main.
The management of Biopharma assured consumers that the production and supply of the company's products will not drop.
Il n'y aura pas de chômage technique.
He equally told employees that none of them would be laid off.
And that's it for the first segment of this newscast. Coming up next, Talking Point. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in Talking Points. We are receiving a journalist, Esther P. You are the Deputy Public Relations Officer of the Cameroon English-Speaking Journalists Association, CAMASEARCH, the Douala branch. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Babila.
You have issued, when I'm saying you, I'm referring to CAMASEARCH Douala, has issued a strongly worded statement condemning the intimidation, illegal arrest, and of course detention of journalists in Cameroon, notably the case of Mimi Mefo. What exactly are you condemning?
Well, we, Kamasesh Douala, we are condemning the intimidation and repression of journalists who are doing their job. We all know that the profession is not a very easy one, having to tell the truth and tell it the way it is objectively. And so we journalists, we've been doing our best in Cameroon, and for one reason or the other, this profession is being continuously under attack from whosoever, the person who doesn't want to hear the truth. And we, Kamasesh, government officials and maybe the people that we are reporting about. And that is why when Mimi came to us, Mimi Mefo Takambo, when she came to Kamasesh Douala and laid the case, we thought it wise to stand up as one family and not to leave her behind.
Yes. Apart from issuing this statement in which you're condemning what is happening to journalists in Cameroon in general, taking off from the case of Mimi Mefo, what other action is Kamasesh planning to, put up to fight against what is qualified by many as ills affecting the practice of journalism in Cameroon?
Now, for some time now, since we relaunched Kamasesh Douala, every month we have a general assembly, and during this general assembly we have professional corners where we encourage each other, empower each other to carry out the profession with the ethics. And today we were planning to come out in our numbers at the Bonanjo Legion where Mimi was summoned in order to stand as one family for her. But it was rather unfortunate that the case was moved forward. But yet we are not giving up. We are still with her, and on Wednesday, that's the 7th of November, we will be there to show her our support. And we are also using the media, Facebook. We have WhatsApp groups and even the websites to kick against the intimidation. That's our problem. Press freedom in Cameroon is suffering a lot, and Kamasesh Douala is not going to sleep on her laurels to see journalists being intimidated. We are going to stand tall and fight this ill until it's pushed out of our profession.
And the case we are talking about, Mimi Mefo, she's been accused of cyber crime and reporting fake news and so on. But what is the stand of Kamasesh? You have been following up like all other persons, millions of televiewers and those who read her on the internet across the world have been following up her reports. But it's difficult to identify where all of these accusations are coming from.
Well, on this note, Kamasesh Douala is calling on the government to invest into computer literacy, that is internet. Let the government agencies be informed and educated on the use and the power of the social media, because it is just because they have not been able to use this media in excellence. Now they find anybody using it as a threat, because it's a freedom of expression. You have the right to post what you want to post on your Facebook wall to inform your followers. And I think Mimi has been doing a great job. Nobody is perfect. She has been doing a great job to inform not only Cameroonians but people out of Cameroon who are following her on Facebook.
But the reports seem to be disturbing. Many.
Well,
especially in government circles.
Jonathan, if I'm telling the truth and it hurt and you are not comfortable with the truth, you will find every way possible to kill that truth. And that is exactly what is happening in Mimi's case. Not just her, several other journalists, they've been through this, and that is why this time around we are coming out to say let this stop, and we are calling on the government to immediately discontinue the case against her.
And we had the case of Akimbom Elvis Makati, a journalist working with Abakwa FM radio station in Bamenda, who appeared in court today for the first time after being detained for several months, about 8 months.
Not just that, Jonathan, we heard the case of the Messager, reporter that was in the report, and also Josiane, who was picked up during the protest. There is Matthias of Le Jour newspaper. There's also Prince Vogel of Still the Messager. It's not just English-speaking journalists, but journalists in general in Cameroon are facing a lot of repression and intimidation for doing their job. That is why we are calling on all English-speaking journalists, not just in Douala, but in Cameroon in general, to stand out and make sure that this ill is stamped out. If not, today is Mimi, tomorrow it might be you or myself. So if we do not fight that now, tomorrow us and maybe our children, those who want to practice the profession tomorrow, are also going to suffer.
Esther QUI, you are the Deputy Public Relations Officer of the Douala branch of the Cameroon English-Speaking Journalists Association. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.